Hello everyone, a very good evening to you, and this is live from Kopi With Vans. Thank you for joining. As usual, before we start our show, the mark and the signature. Cheers to everyone. Of course, it's not beer or alcohol or wine, it's pure water. Thank you for joining the second day of Kopi With Vans. It's my great pleasure to have every of the viewers joining us in. Yesterday, yes, we talked about something about road safety. Who has the rights? So we talk about all the scenarios that can happen in the road, about road safeties and characteristics, all about the safety and enjoying between cyclists and motorists, the link bridge. But today's topic is all about the virus. I have a great pleasure to invite the best, one of the greatest microbiologists, whose name is PK Rajesh. He's also the professor. And this is the second time he's coming in. I mean, if you all noticed, the last year when we came in, he was actually playing the role of a virus. So we then asked a lot of questions to the virus. I mean, of course, it's not a virus. He's the man behind. I mean, to know all those stuffs and explain clearly to us to create the awareness. So he's here with us, and together with myself, and my another great fellow buddy, who is Dr. Arvinder Singh, HS, also be joining us in a while to have a great discussion on this part of the virus part of story. Part 2. So let's not waste any more time to get my speakers up. But before I bring up my speakers up, I just want to share a little bit. We had this Spanish flu pandemic started in 1980. So I just give you a lot of names. So later we can give Professor a lot of questions for him because there's so many names the viruses have been. And then the swine flu in 1998. We have the SARS, right, severe acute respiratory syndrome in 2003, not forgetting the H1N1 in 2009, the Ebola in 2014, MERS in 2012, and of course not forgetting COVID-19 in 2019, and 2020. And then we have the new one that's just popped up, B.1.617 in 2021, which is this year. So the virus is evolving. As much as how the humans are also trying, all our scientists, the microbiologists, the virologists, all coming up with different ways to attack the viruses. But the viruses seems to be smarter than the human. So let's get my guest speakers up, and then we can have a great discussion. So I'm going to call Professor PK Rajesh, microbiologist. Hello, sir.
Hi, once. How are you?
How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you, once?
Good too. It's a great pleasure to have you once again in Kopi With Vans on this talk channel.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. And this time we are going to give the virus a bit of hard time because we have a lot of questions to ask your, not a good friend actually, but you know him, you know how he possibly, you know, his characteristics and kind of stuff. So we can discuss about that. Thank you, doctor. Thank you again, once again, Prof, for joining us. And also not forgetting, we have another speaker who is not a new face to the Kopi With Vans. He always joins us, as one of the guest speakers. That is Dr. Arvinda Singh, HS.
Hi
Hello,
everyone.
doctor.
Hi Prof. Hi Vans. Hi, how are you guys?
Hi.
Good. It looks like you just came out from operation. Are you?
Yeah, I just finished clinics and I'm now back home in time to have my Kopi with Vans.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So it's a great pleasure, gentlemen, to have you in Kopi Events again once more on this great topic of the viruses part 2 of the story. So before we even want to get started up, maybe we just want to ask our microbiologist, sir. So, sir, I mean, last year we had in fact, just a couple of months, right? I think beginning of the year we had a talk. I think it's not even last year.
Must be January,
Yeah,
sometime January.
January. But so many things happened within that few months. We talked about how these virus actually getting smarter than the humans, and the humans are getting smarter than the virus. So we talked about this, and it's a very interesting topic to talk about because it's all about awareness. It's about creating understanding, and we need to know because we are now living with it and around now. So maybe somewhere it's hiding. But just to go on, Prof, I mean, is there any differences that we see between January, where we talked about COVID-19, and currently the B.1.167? The name seems very, very unique. But what is your take in this, Prof? I mean, from January to right now, I mean, a couple of months and so many things has happened.
Yeah, okay. Thanks. Once a very interesting question. So honestly telling you, we are learning every day. It's not from January to May. Even May 1st to May 2nd, May 3rd, May 5th, May 7th, things change. The virus is actually teaching us a different thing every day, telling us, and it's so interesting that this virus has not showcased these abilities all in the first place.
Yep.
You see, if you're going on a first date with somebody, that person will try to impress you with all his talents, skills, money, whatever on day one, right? And he has nothing else to show after that. But look at how clever the virus is, or whatever. It's showing up more properties, and it is baffling. It's amazing. It's everybody is learning. It's a steep curve, of course. We already have a vaccine. We have monoclonal antibodies. We have a lot of things in place so quickly. So we can't even look from January to May. Even May to May, there is a change. That's my take on it. And the way the mutants or the variants behave is totally different from the earlier viruses. Dr. Arvinda can help me on this. Most of the times when there's a mutation, usually the virulence drops. Most of the times, mutation and other things. But this seems to be getting more and more virulent, right? And to summarize, the virus is teaching us a lot of things every day. Can I put it that way?
Yeah.
I think it's teaching us every minute. Whatever we learn 5 and 10 minutes ago, the virus would have probably heard us, and we would have said, no problem, I'm on it. I think the virus is an epitome of how shall I put it? It's an epitome of efficaciousness of what you want to see in a worker. You want to see a person who is committed. You want to see a person who is bang on the job and adapting to new environments. And unfortunately, that's what the virus has done. Prof, you were saying that when you go on a date, you always show your best side first. I think honestly, the worst side of the virus, or what we consider the worst side or the best side of the virus, is yet to come. And unfortunately, if humans don't change their behavior, it is going to allow the virus to go on a free spiral.
Yep. Thank you, doctors. Thank you for the initial gear of starting up the engine. Of course, we're going to talk a lot. I have a great discussion. We also been encouraged to ask us questions along the way. But Prof, I know we had covered this before in our last talk session, but we just want to get to know a little bit more of our understanding of the spiky guy. He's trying to come up with a lot of names. I mean, he has a lot of names. Our antibodies are always constantly fighting. They're always trying to have, they're trying, but now it's been like these particular foreign bodies are coming into the body and they are getting cheated by the antibodies. Antibodies thought that you are my friend. So what can we know a little bit more about coronavirus? We all know about this, but the characteristics, if you can highlight to us, Professor.
All right. So the coronavirus by itself has not changed. So coronavirus has been around for so many years, and it was very, very harmless, and nobody bothered about it. So in fact, when I studied my microbiology, whenever we saw coronavirus, we just skipped that chapter because it is never going to be asked. Nobody is going to bother about it, etc. But as you listed the epidemics and the pandemics before the show, you listed a few. And if you see SARS, if you see MERS, all of them belong to the corona family. Yeah. So it is proved that it's a silent, but if it has a potential for pandemics. So about corona, what you should know. All right. So this is a virus which can spread to us. We don't have to make any effort. It's around. It's ubiquitous. It's around everywhere, and we just have to inhale or just take it in. So all that said earlier still applies. It can come from the droplet. There is a talk that it can survive longer now, so that there can be an aerosol spread. It is just because the virus, the variant, can survive more in the environment. It's got this property. It can survive more. Environment stable, so there's a possibility that it can be an aerosol. It can still come off surfaces if you touch somewhere and then immediately touch your face, etc. So to be fully aware, I think we should continue with your masking. Even if your friend comes to your office, keep the mask on. He is not immune, you're not immune. Keep the mask on. Continue the sanitization. Keep soap and water or the sanitizer on the hand. Keep your physical distancing. And whatever is the name of the virus, it's going to be keeping away. We can solve, and we have a vaccine now, and we have to go in for the vaccine. Once there's a lot of talk that the vaccine cannot cover the virus, but if you realize, all the vaccines all are taking the spikes of the coronavirus. It is there in the vaccine, and the antibodies are produced against the spikes, and it's not one antibody which is formed. There will be a huge factories of antibodies which are formed against the spike, which will definitely, there will be some fit and it will protect. And I've seen some sharing from some practitioners who are actually dealing with COVID patients day in and day out. They have given testimonies saying that they don't see people who have taken 2 doses of vaccine in the ICU. Even though they may get infected, they may get COVID, they pass off with a minor illness or not with much consequences.
Yes.
So I think whatever, I'll tell you about the names later, the uniqueness of the names. I think I'll keep it for later so that the audience are curious. Yeah, but
so you're saving some bullets. You're saving some bullets to not to really cover, but to shoot it back.
Not really. Now, even though I love the viruses with this COVID, I'm actually irritated with viruses nowadays. It's been too long. It's not a month or 2 months. And when you say that you have to follow the SOP, we can't go out, I can understand for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. When it's going on to 1.5 years and 2 years, it's impossible for anyone for that matter, to go on. And this virus keeps on coming in waves. The first wave, second wave, and after 3 or 4 weeks, when the numbers come down, I think we celebrate a bit too early. We go out, and then again the spread. Yeah.
We definitely going to interview the virus on part of this story. Sure. But thank you, Prof. So, but of course, before we jump into the role plays, I mean, in terms of the questioning and the Q&As we have, and of course, viewers are also please, if you do have any questions, you can also please ask. But we talked about the corona families. Even flu is also a part of the corona families. But apart from the beer, it's also under corona, but that doesn't fall under the virus. It's also been going on. But on a serious note, I think this has been with us for more than 100 or 200 over years. And so we are always trying to be, smarter than, the viruses. But during the incubation period, or even how long the contagious can be for coronavirus, what is your take on that? Either Dr. Arvinder or Prof, you can take this.
Shall I take it, Arvinder?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. Why I want to take it is actually this was I remember a lecture I took on contagious and infectivity, and Arvinder was inside. So I remember. All right. So I hope I don't complicate. If I'm complicating once, you stop me. All right. Now you're asking how long a person can be contagious, right? Suppose I'm infected. How long? Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I do not know when I picked up the virus. Is once inside?
Yes, Prof. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes, Prof. But you can just continue. No problem.
Yeah.
All right. He did a virus trick. Huh? He just hid for some time from the immune system.
He's now a new strain.
Yeah. Suddenly it was non-detectable. Hey, again. Okay. Good. All right. Okay. So when I get the virus, first of all, I do not know I have it. Right? I do not know. So my friends do not know. So that is why I can be contagious all through, actually. So usually the incubation period ranges depending on the load and other things about 2 to 14 days. It can be up and down. So this 2 to 14 days, I've got the virus in me, and I do not know. Maybe I'm not having any symptoms, and I can still be contagious. I can be spreading it. It's during the incubation period, the virus is actually working its way, taking its toll on the body and other things. But no symptoms, I keep spreading. So that gives you about 2 weeks, 2 to 14 days. I may develop the symptoms anytime between these 2 to 14 days. I may get minor illness, fever, etc., breathlessness, all those symptoms. And after the onset of symptoms, I can still spread it for another 2 weeks. With the peak about 1 week, 8 days, 9 days is supposed to be the peak where this person can spread. And after 14 days, the infectivity comes down. But still, there's a 5% chance that the virus can be still transmitted from this person who's recuperated. So just to give a name to this, these all very nice names we have. The first part is during the incubation period, you start spreading. You don't have the symptom. You are actually an incubatory carrier. So no symptoms. You will not be able to know. So once, suppose we are meeting today for coffee, not virtual live, and three days later, I text you. I'm sorry, I have COVID. It means that I would have definitely passed you during that time. Yeah. So when you're looking at a person catching COVID, and then you're looking at about 1 month from that, because 2 weeks for his symptoms to rise, and probably about 1 month where he can be contagious.
Thank you, Doctor. I mean, from sanitizers to face masks, we all been practicing that. I mean, it's nothing new for us right now. It becomes the norm. But apart from that, also there are some also not wearing it. But I think it is very important. But even if you look in Singapore right now, it's mandatory and it's compulsory, and one can actually get into the laws if you don't follow these basic rules, because I think that plays a very important part, that everybody in the same page, everybody do the same thing, and we eventually want to bring the curve down. But then of course there are some spikes up and there. I think every country is facing a big challenge there. Hopefully all these things comes down as quickly as possible, with all the great vaccines are coming in and people are getting vaccinated as well.
Yeah, Vance, if you don't mind, can I just add to something what Prof has said? So
please.
There are a couple of phases which we actually we clinically like to know of. One is that if you look at research today, unfortunately 70% of our patients who are COVID positive come with asymptomatic. That means they have no symptoms at all. And you get the other 30 to 40% who come in with symptoms. That means they have cough, they have flu, they have pneumonia symptoms, breathing difficulties. I think with the shift of the virus, you can, with the shift of the virulence and also the shift of strains, you find that more patients are coming in these days with actually very severe symptoms. Unfortunately, there is a phase which we call the pre-symptomatic phase, which what Prof actually described just now, whereby a person is actually infectious. They are already having the COVID virus within them. It's already incubation period over. They're pre-symptomatic. They have no symptoms, but they can transmit the virus at that particular time. So, unfortunately, a lot of people think that when they are actually exposed to a person today, they actually immediately go and do a swab, and then they hope to find that the test is either positive or is negative or positive. But I can save you the trouble and tell you that you are most probably going to be negative, because, as correctly Prof pointed out, there is an incubation period of at least 2 to 5 days where they can actually have the virus incubating within them before they show up as positive on a test. So I always recommend and tell people, like exactly how Prof Rajesh has put it. If you go and see a person, and then in a few days you say that the person calls you and say, hey, you know what, I'm actually COVID positive, the best thing for you to immediately do is to quarantine yourself. All right, that's the most sensible thing, because you don't know whether you're in pre-symptomatic or asymptomatic phase at all. And then after day 5 of the exposure, get your test done. Now the problem is, most of us we immediately want to go and do the test, but you have to give that incubation period. The second thing you want to actually do is, this particular 5 days, if you have any cough and cold between these 5 days, you don't have to wait for day 5. You can go and get it done immediately to find out, all right, because you're already symptomatic. So I think this is where public can actually think about how they can actually mitigate this entire situation. There is no compulsion to immediately go and do a test, but I think the most important thing is, can we avoid all of this? And the most important thing is basically to still wear a face mask. I actually enjoyed when I watched a lot of videos on Singapore. Even though you're actually in a restaurant, you're waiting for your food, they actually advise you to still keep your mask on. I think that's absolutely brilliant, because a lot of people in other countries, I'm not saying only within this region, any region, even in other foreign countries, you see, they go into a restaurant, immediately the mask is out. They don't understand that even now, as Prof Rajesh has mentioned, aerosolization and ventilation has become so important, where there's an inflow and outflow of air. You need proper aeration, so that the air droplets do not stay in one particular place. They move out so that you don't inhale these droplets. Unfortunately, when you go to many of these restaurants these days, they are all closed areas with air condition. So if you don't, if there's poor ventilation and you're not masked, there's a very high risk that COVID can be contracted. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Arvind. I mean, now, like we said, the sanitizer and the mask become one of our best friend. So even when
it's going to start growing on us. It's going to start growing on us soon.
Even when you come back home, it's so comfortable that you don't even want to take it out, because it becomes a normal. I think we have to practice this for quite a number of years. So yes, thank you, gentlemen. I mean, for getting it started. So I think the best part is right now is to get rekindle back again, Professor, on the viruses. So we like to invite Prof and his not very good friend for everybody, which is the virus. So are we ready, Prof? I mean, are we ready for the questions, the Q&A?
Sure. I'm a virus. I can always disappear.
So now we are going to change Prof as a virus, right? So all right.
Okay.
So it's a very good honor to get host this show and asking these kind of questions. So in 2020 we talked about COVID-19, and now is the new virus, which you call the B.1.167. How did you become stronger? So that is what we want to know. How did you become stronger? We thought we were going to eliminate you off from the chart, and we thought we are smarter. Yes, we are smart. We are preparing our antibodies to be able to provide whatever necessary thing that it adds to boost. But somehow or other, you went quiet for a while, and then you came out with B.1.167. What is your theory, or what is your practical? I need to know the answer. We need to know the answer.
All right. So this SARS-CoV-2 whatever you're saying, COVID-19, all is man-made. You're calling me names. All right. So I'm the same SARS-CoV all the while, and just like how you grow from a child to a teenager to an adult, I'm doing the same. All right, and I'm not selfish like you. I don't grow individually. I grow with my clan. All of us, all. So we usually evolve. All the viruses do. We evolve. We mutate. We have a lot of avenues for that with our proteins, and we keep changing. Now, I'm very happy with human beings. For the first time, you're not stigmatized a country by calling it the country's name for the virus and all that. You gave a very good name, Corona Infectious Disease 2019. And then now, actually, the names, I'm very impressed by the way you're keeping track of me, because if B1 167 is my 167th descendant from point one, okay, that B1, whatever is the number, is the number of descendants from the original version. So it's just our mutation, and most of the time you realize it's not that different. So that is why you call something 167.1 and then 167.2 or something like that. So there's various copies, the main thing is the same, minor changes in the protein structuring and sequencing, and that gives us so many forms. I think you guys celebrate very early. You have fantastic plans in place, and you do the lockdowns, you do the absolute social distancing, you all stay home, which you should be doing. And then I think, okay, I respect all of you are about to disappear. But then again, you just cough at each other, kiss each other, hug each other, celebrate. Then I'm very happy. I always know that human beings call yourself the host, call us the guest. So you're entertaining us. So then the virus spreads again until you call for a call up again. And as Dr. Arvinda just said, still there is dine-in. So you wear a mask everywhere, and finally you go for a dine-in. 4 of you sit together, take off the mask. You give us an opportunity to enter. All right. So
literally,
yeah.
so literally, we're just waiting for an opportunity for someone to take a mask, and then you become a happy man or happy woman or man. It doesn't have a race. It doesn't have a gender. So I also do not know what to call. Oh, that thing become very happy, right? I mean, that's a bit of a strange thing that, it's not strange thing, it's happening. Okay, Dr. Arvinda, I mean, do you have any question for the
fight? So I would like to ask, what is it that the virus fears most at the moment, or towards its existence within the human beings?
I fear the vaccine. If most of you are vaccinated, for example, if you reach 80% coverage, then each of you, as you know, you have your memory cell, you have your immune cell, you're going to make copies of antibodies, which can match all our strains. And ultimately, we are going to die down. So that is the herd immunity, and the 80% of the population being immunized. I think that's the end. But thanks to the infodemics, and thanks to the myths and the scare of the vaccine and all that, the vaccination is not picked up as it should, and that's making us stronger. We are giving us more chance to evolve and make multiple copies, etc. You might have to bring another vaccine after some time.
And irresponsible social media use.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As a virus, I think when Dr. Rajesh, Dr. Arvinda all come on a show, you should talk in layman's language, so that people understand, people are aware. Because the infodemics speak a language people understand. It appeals to people, and they think, oh, this is. Whereas when you ask a scientist, when you look up at some scientists, he talks in, it may be this, it could be that, it could be that, it can happen, this can happen, it may not happen, that may not happen, this may happen. Oh, then the infodemic looks more authentic. What do you think? Okay, it's coming from the virus.
So
I think honestly, at this particular moment, I think that the fake news is more virulent than you are at the moment. So as far as that is
Thank you,
concerned,
thank you, thank
but
you.
to be very fair, uh, what how do you feel your output for the future is? How does the future look for you? Do you potentially see it of your existence with humans, or is it going to be bleak, or are you going to join by your cousins the influenza virus, which is going to be among the humans, and we accept each other's existence, and we agree to disagree, with medications coming in and out, on that particular note.
just a minute.
Good.
I think
Yeah, yeah.
Arvind is giving too much of credit to the virus. Giving too much of credit. I mean, you are too kind. I mean,
we,
we have
no,
a professor microbiologist here too. You are giving
we show that much of respect to the virus. Because of what the virus has done, we may be against on both different ends, but there's, I think, a mutual
Yeah, yeah,
respect.
yeah.
I think the virus
Absolutely.
respects what we do in terms of avoiding the virus, and we respect the virus in the sense that we know that what's the virus capable of. So I think this is army general versus army general on one particular table discussing what can we do to solve it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Good question, Dr. Arvind. I think we have been very virulent. So if we had been more milder, we could have survived longer in human beings, just causing like how a cousin, the influenza, does. Huh? But as you know, the influenza also has his days. Every 10 years, 20 years, he also starts killing people because suddenly he has the antigenic shift and drift, etc. Okay. We are not like the smallpox and the polio viruses, which you could eradicate, which you can almost eradicate or eradicate. We can survive in other species. We can survive in the bat. We can survive in many other living things. So if you all take the vaccine and you all keep us at bay, we have to evolve. We'll go into a duck probably. We'll go into the pigs and lie low, maybe 3 to 4 or 5 years, and then if there's an opportunity, we'll visit our human beings once more, one more round. Yeah, so that could happen. We could go in. Disappear for some time, and then always the lurking danger is there. So just like flu vaccines are seasonal, whenever there is indication that we should take the flu vaccine, we take a flu vaccine. So I think once the the COVID vaccines are well established, people have to take it now. Now, of course, there should be a mass. Later, it could be seasonal or as per need. Yeah. So I think that is the future prospects that we see.
Yeah, but Mr.
So
Virus,
every
for us
time.
to reach that level, we must ensure that the majority of the population uptakes the vaccination at the moment.
Absolutely, absolutely,
Because
absolutely.
I think in any warfare, this is a biological warfare, and in order for us to eliminate your army, we can't be using ammunition. The only ammunition we have is our protective gear. Our shields are basically our mask, hand washing, hand hygiene, and of course physical distancing. But I think ammunition wise, we don't have any antivirals to actually deal with it. But we can actually keep the virus at bay or keep the virus low with immunization. And I think herd immunity with mass vaccination is what we need. Sorry, Vance. Over to you.
No, I mean, looks like Dr. Arvinda is very keen with the virus because he's giving too much of a little appreciation towards it. So I'm going to come in between the both of them. But of course,
Sure, sure, sure.
you mentioned that you stay low for a couple of years, you pop by. So since Spanish flu, since 1980, every 15 years, 10 years, like the prediction, you all keep on coming, evolving. Suddenly when things are just like a summer, you come in and you darken up the whole sky. So I mean, what are you? I mean, in terms of we all know that you are a virus, but why is that every time when you come back, you are actually giving a major impact? You have taken up so many lives, and so and so forth. I mean, no mercy. You just, there's an opportunity, your army just going in and getting it done. I mean, don't you have a little mercy on us? Little.
I think that Dr. Arvinda has to answer it, because most of the symptoms are not caused by the virus. We come in, and most of the time it is because of the immunity, either lack of it or the hyperimmunity, which produces most of the symptoms and most of the consequences. So you're right. When we come in after a period of 2 or 3 years of surviving in some other species, when the virus comes to man, this has happened across, even Zika and other viruses. Man has not experienced this before, or been exposed to that before. So there is no protection, actually. The immune system is not ready for it. So as you saw in the case of Ebola or Zika, then there is a massive mortality rates in the beginning. And again, if you check the history and other things, whenever forests have been destroyed and whenever there is the man has entered the forest, man has approached this closed environment, and either the vectors, the mosquitoes, or even monkeys and other things have come closer, is when the species to species of transfer of viruses has happened.
Okay, I got one more question before Dr. Arvinda can ask the next question. We all know how the theory or the mechanism works. When you come in, our antibodies identify you as a foreign virus, which not supposed to be in, and then they start to have a war between the both, right? So antibodies and yes, COVID-19, both of them fighting. And then in this process, you are very happy because you are trying to cheat some of these antibodies in our body, that you are one of them because of the structure, because of the protein. So our antibodies think that you are one of us in a disguised manner, but our antibodies are getting cheated. So that's one question for you. But there's something that's happening between the both. When these major fights between the foreign body and our antibodies happen, these cytokines coming in and creates a big haywire system in our body, which your temperature goes up, bacterial starts coming in, and when we diagnose some medications or whatever, then the bacterial start to come in, pneumonia coming in, so many things are coming in. What are you actually planning inside within that period or time? To conquer us or to eliminate us?
Okay, it's a mixed feeling. First of all, we actually, after the initial binding to the receptor and after we enter into the cell, as you say that no antibodies can touch us, we are inside the cell, inside the host cell, and we start reproducing, coming out of the cell to infect similar cells around. Now, the immune mechanism, including because of the distress from this cell to the other immune cells, there is, as you rightly said, interleukins and cytokines are secreted, which causes overwhelming response. Remember that we are also killed in that. The viruses are also destroyed. Most of the viruses are destroyed during the cytokine storm. So usually there are immunomodulators, usually steroids, which are used at this juncture or around this juncture to limit the overwhelming response, which actually gives us some relief. So as you say, it is what to say. There is some gain, some loss on both sides. We are not planning anything. The basic idea is to come in, keep in a cell and survive. Yeah.
So looks like
I was told in the past. Sorry, I just wanted to add. As I was told in the past, basically when you are fighting physical warfare, you use ammunition. In the process of killing the enemies, you may also accidentally or unintentionally kill your own army. And unfortunately, in this particular battle, where the cytokine storm comes in, and that's when all I would say, sorry, in very technical terms, all hell breaks loose. That is where you are actually having a nuclear bomb you're trying to bomb the thing with the nuclear bomb. Unfortunately, you're going to be affected of it as well. That is the problem. Yeah.
Okay, correct. Right. Agreed.
It's-
Well described. Well described.
Yeah.
Prof,
This is a table talk.
Yeah, totally agreeing it. But amazing thing. How do you disguise yourself as one of the antibodies, and you cheat our antibody system from letting you coming in? And these guys are like, oh, you are one of us. Come on, go in. And you actually, does disguise it so very well. How is that possible? Is it our antibodies are getting dumber, smarter, or you are becoming smarter, or you are coming with a different conspiracy plan to enter our system and ourselves as a disguise?
No. Once you give the boost, the immunity, have the vaccine and all that, we are going to have sufficient number of antibodies who are going to identify us and knock us off. Surely. Basically, when we bud out of a host cell, we take the host cell as our covering. And that is why we could have some protection. But with antibodies, like earlier, there was a suggestion that you take hyperimmune serum. You take serum from a person who has already had COVID or exposed to COVID, take the antibodies and treat. Yeah. So when there is surplus of antibodies, effective neutralizing antibodies is there, then of course will be blocked. It is only with the natural phase where there is less antibodies and all that. When we move from one cell and attack an adjacent cell, there is not many antibodies to protect. With the immunization, I'm sure it's going to change the scene for us.
So, and I can just sorry,
doctor.
Sorry. Yeah, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Let me just finish up, then you continue. Yeah. In this current B.1.167, we do see a huge changes. I mean, of course, you go into a different methods and you try to block certain oxygen supplies and all that, and carbon dioxide is built up. So you make us a poison of our own self, and slowly the oxygen ratio is just going down, and eventually it passes out. But what is the major differences between your younger brother and yourself? I mean, your younger brother was doing his part. Okay, you're trying to attack him, and then you came in and you seem to be a little bit more stronger and different ways of attacking the body system, the antibodies. We're not able to do anything. What is your take on that?
All right. Basically, what we have, the improvisation, our version is the newer variants, the newer strain can bind to the receptor more effectively and faster. So, like for example, if I'm inhaled, the new variants can bind to all the receptors faster and enter the cell earlier, faster. Another one is we are more contagious, like we can survive more in the environment. We are more environment stable than our younger brother. The younger brother used to die off early, but we can survive for a longer period. So our rate of infectivity is more. Once we enter a human cell established into the receptors and start budding, our virus shedding, the person sheds us more than the earlier version. So that person spreads the viruses more for a longer time because we are surviving in the environment also. And therefore, we moved from basically what is just a droplet to actually aerosol, because more shedding and we can survive more outside. So this basically makes us more contagious. But if you still do the physical distancing, maybe you increase the physical distancing, don't dine out, don't open up the mask, keep the mask on, do your sanitization, and go for vaccine. It's the same. Don't let your guard down.
Ravinda?
Yes. So I will just share with you roughly a small analogy on self and non-self when you were saying how does the virus is. Can you imagine that you are in a room full of CDs? Okay, the normal CDs with the cover and the CD. So can you imagine that you go into a room full of CDs and a cover, like in a music shop? Now each CD is in its particular cover, right? Now what happens is when the virus infects is actually the CDs are actually changed. You think it is the CD of this cover, you open it up, you find a different CD inside. Now, a cytokine storm is when you actually realize that every CD is not part of the CD cover and you start going berserk. But when you take your vaccine, when you are trying to change the cover of the CD, there's a teacher standing next to you with a cane saying, don't do that, change it back, or you're not allowing that process to happen. So it prevents the thing from the start. Unfortunately, this idea is very, very new to many people around the world, I would say, in developing countries especially, because we all the while used to do treatment medication or treatment medicine. You see the cover is wrong, you just either change the cover or you do something manually. All right. But these days, we are preventing that from happening. You don't even want the CD covers to change. That is what we are doing. Unfortunately, many individuals think that it is not medicine per se. Medicine is not supposed to be curative. It's supposed to be preventive. Instead, everybody says, why worry about walking in the rain when you have an umbrella? Unfortunately, in this particular point of time, you don't want to go out when it's raining. That's a whole different idea altogether. So another thing which is very interesting is the vaccination uptake within the community. So as you can see that the virus multiple times has already expressed that vaccination is something which it's very, very afraid of. Vaccines is something which is going to threaten its existence. Vaccines actually will prevent the condition from becoming worse, getting your cytokine storm. Vaccines is the one that is telling you, hey, this CD is for this particular cover. Nobody else is going to get anything out of this. That's it. At the end of the day, why wouldn't a person want this particular, it's like a CD sorter. Why wouldn't a person want the CD sorter when you know that everything will be in place? So I think many countries are having these issues where people are unfortunately being fed with fake news, with unrealistic news, or with news hyper exaggerated to actually prevent vaccination. Now that is giving the virus a chance of survival. So I always say that the most important thing is be responsible. Choose the vaccine. Take the vaccine. Any vaccine will do. You don't have to say that, oh, I want this vaccine, and if I get that vaccine, I'm not going to get. No. Any vaccine will do. Why? Because number one, you will prevent from getting severe COVID. When people stop having severe COVID, people will stop being admitted in hospitals for COVID-19. Healthcare systems and resources will be saved. Once that happens, people will stop going into ICU because they won't deteriorate as fast. Now, these people end up not dying at the end of the day. So that is how important the vaccine is towards this entire process.
Thank you, Dr. Anvidan. Now I'm suspecting you also could be another virus because you're also talking, and you're talking in the both sides. One, you're talking on the positive side and the negative side. So I have to figure out which is the COVID-19 and which is the B1167 right now. Hard time, but a great discussion. But of course, we have few more questions that came in. But any question that is a little political, a little not in line with the SOPs and rules and regulations, we do not try to take them on, because this talk channel is basically for creating awareness, understanding what's happening to our body, instructor manual, and so on and so forth. So we do not want to take a few questions that came in. I'm sorry about that, but that is how the rules and regulations of our talk channel. We keep it very clean and steady. So next question for Prof or the virus itself. I myself get confused right now. Do not want to call. So what gender are you right now? I mean, are you a male? Are you a female? Are you? But you seem to be in every country. You seem to be in every country, and people start calling that country a name, and then you are associated with that. Now you're coming with B1617. Numbers are coming by. You're all the fancy numbers. And on top of that, you're also creating some political issues between countries, because some are calling that country name. You started that, you started that. So you seem like a virus, but you're also creating a lot of issues. So, I mean, and you're gone every 5 years and 7 years, and you pop up again, and we are just keeping adding into the name list. So what are you? I'm really speechless. What are you really?
All right. For a start, there is no gender. We don't require a gender. We can, whenever you give us environment inside a host cell, we can survive. I am an RNA virus. RNA virus, so I survive in the cytoplasm. My elder brothers, I can't call them brothers. My elder whatever survive in the nucleus when they're DNA virus, etc.
Siblings.
So okay, and the names. I'm actually honored that you've given me the names which you have coined, because earlier you used to call it West Nile virus. You're actually stigmatizing the geography of a particular area. Whereas nowadays you don't call any virus by the geographic area, don't identify it by the place where it was first identified, etc. And you're giving actually a good rationale by giving a number which nobody can remember. So like 167, you after a few years you will not know whether this was first in Italy or South Africa or New Delhi or wherever, India or wherever. So I think that's well done. That stigmatization is not there. Actually, if you reflect a few years ago when this was done, when organism or a virus is identified in one place, it could be because that place has got adequate lab facilities to identify a new strain of a virus, right? Yeah. Right. So I'm very happy with the current terminology, the current classification and the coinage is very good, excellent.
I got one more question before I hand over to Dr. Arvinda, and then we can call it off a session because we are coming to close to 1 hour. If any viewers have a question, please do send it to us. I just a small request. If you do have anything pertaining to the virus or to create awareness, please do ask us. But if it's sensitive, we do not want to take that because, like I said, in Kopi With Vans, we want to keep it clearly awareness creating. I know certain questions can be genuine, but we do not want to take that anything pertaining to the country or pertaining to whether is it engineer or not engineer. We don't want to go into that at all. But on a serious note, Professor, I mean now inviting Professor.
Back. Okay.
On a serious note, I mean, it seems like we always have to wear a mask right now. I mean, every 3 years, 4 years is coming in. Is that the thing's going to be a normal thing? Like it's a new norm that we have to wear masks even if we have eliminated COVID-19 or the B1167. Do you think that this will be the new norm, or we should adopt it because now it becomes a safety concern and a health concern? So, what is your take in this, Prof?
Okay. To be very honest, I have not got a flu. I'm privileged. I have not got a flu for the last 1 year, 4 months.
There you go.
Yeah, plus. Yep. Whereas earlier, when we had the norm, when we in the society, when we normal, 3 to 6 months, definitely 4 months, 5 months, definitely there'll be a 3 or 4 days is lost. We have a flu and all that. And since I'm a microbiologist, I used to quarantine myself so that my family do not get it. And those 3 or 4 days were hell, I tell you. But with the advent of the mask, we have been actually protected from these other things. If you're protected from COVID, you've been protected from the other viruses also. So if you think that, if you remember, Taiwan, actually, they had the habit of wearing masks even before COVID.
Yeah.
And actually, the COVID impact came much late into the country, those countries who habitually had the habit of wearing masks. Even once, Arvinda, when you used to travel 2 years, 3 years back on the flight, you would have seen a few individuals who were actually wearing masks those days.
That's right.
Right. And most of the time when you come back from a flight, you catch a flu. And
Yes.
It's because you have been exposed to so many people. But when you come back home, there'll be somebody in your family saying that it's because you took bath in a different water, different country, you got it. They associate something like that. So once coming to your question, I think mask is definitely encouraged. You and I will wear it, but we are human beings. We easily forget. So after 3 years, when you think there's no risk, there's no thing, then we will throw it off. So there should be another SARS-CoV-3 to come back and educate again, probably later. Right?
No, I mean, I think this time it has proven that everybody is taking precautions in terms of sanitizing, wearing masks. They are taking care of their health, sleeping well, adequate fluid drinking, water, exercising. I think everybody is now health conscious. I think this is the biggest time we ever seen in the history, or even for the past 1 year. People are turning inwards rather than out. But then another different, very much topic that, of course, we don't want to talk today, which is mental resilience, which is also people are getting stress, anxiety, depression because of all this isolation. That's different level of topic. But we have one more question to Dr. Arvinda. I mean, I leave the privilege to him. Then after that, we can just call it off our session today.
Actually, it's not a question, but just to add to what Prof. Rajesh has mentioned, I think COVID-19 has actually taught us something, that we have to be prepared for the next pandemic. So whenever people, nowadays you get a lot of big reputable societies coming out and saying that after your vaccine you don't have to mask. I actually disagree with that, even though you have enough data to show, because you are talking about the current pandemic. You're not talking about the next pandemic. We want to avoid the next pandemic. I always tell people that if the first person who actually got COVID-19 actually masked themselves, washed their hands, and were physically distant, we won't be in this mess right now. That's how I look at it. And I think that the next pandemic that is about to happen can be avoided if we continue doing this. There's no harm. Prof hit the nail right on the head. The most important thing is we have been avoiding flus. The number of influenza-like illnesses, the number of cough and colds you're seeing are reducing because we just put a mask over our face. Now, the next biggest question that comes in is, what type of mask should we be using? There are a lot of people saying about cloth masks. I still firmly believe that a medical grade mask is the 3-ply mask. That is the minimum you need. That is what we want. You can actually just put a mask or a cloth on your face and say that you're covered. But what are you trying to achieve? We want to achieve something. So a medical grade mask. I feel even the social distancing, hand washing, it's such a great thing. I remember during college, Prof used to keep telling us the main treatment for any diarrhea in this world is proper hand washing. And of course, you give them good hydration, because with good hydration and proper hand washing, you're not only going to cure them, but you're going to prevent a spread. I think ultimately people of the world have to think that we are not in curative anymore. We are now in preventive. And this is the best way to prevent. And my last question to Prof. Rajesh in the virus bit of it is, when do you see yourself taking a step back in the near future?
The virus doesn't want to take a step back. It just stepping forward.
That is why I'm asking.
Okay, all right. So now you have again gone back into a shell. You have understood the value of the social distancing, and you're keeping yourself away from each other. And if the vaccination rate steps up, I can, Shamla is my student too, so indirectly I can answer that. Any vaccine is definitely better than COVID itself. Whatever can be the mild things which can happen, reaction or whatever to each vaccine. A vaccine is a boon. We were praying for it last year. We have it now. So with the vaccine rates stepping up, with human beings producing neutralizing protective antibodies, then I think I have to withdraw. I have to, before I'm destroyed, I have to look at another host. And I'm sure you're not going to vaccinate all the skunks. So then maybe I will look at some animal like that and go and hide there for some time.
So it looks like you're not going to give up. Not anytime soon.
I have to survive once. So I'll be somewhere. I'll be sitting somewhere. I don't want to cause any harm.
Okay, but I mean, thank you, Prof. I mean, for the past 1 hour we have been discussing. It's always a great pleasure to have you on board. With
Sorry, Vince.
great
I just want to add
Yeah,
something. I
please go
think one of the good parting message which Prof has actually mentioned is we have to learn to live with COVID-19. I think that is the thing. The virus wants to survive. Humanity wants to survive. We have to learn how to coexist. We just have to make sure not to get into each other's way. The virus, unfortunately, may not want that, but we have to learn not to get into the virus's way and practice all whatever we can to just make sure that the virus is kept at bay. I think that's the best parting message medically I can share, and I hope Prof Rajesh can concur with what I'm mentioning. And the best thing we can do now is basically uh, practice all our standard operating procedures of masking, physical distancing, hand hygiene. And the most important thing is opt for the vaccine. I keep following what Singapore is doing. I think you all are going according to age groups now. I think they're opening the 40s to the 40s. I urge everybody within the age of 40s, please go ahead and take the vaccine. Do not trust rumors. Trust your medical professionals more than anybody else, because I'm very sure when you go and meet your medical professional, they will tell you opt for the vaccine. Any vaccine will do. Please opt for it, because you know why? This is your best chance to be a national hero. Everybody wants to be a national hero and do something. This is your chance. Be a national hero. Opt for the vaccine. If you're at all fit for the vaccine, opt for the vaccine. Go ahead with it. This is your chance to be a national hero. Everybody.
Well said, Dr. Arvinda. Now, officially, the virus is your biggest enemy right now. You see, Prof is just quiet, It's like you are ought to be there to eliminate me. You can see that because you are giving the solution for the right
This is the parting
stuff.
shot, This is the parting shot.
Well, I really hope it happens.
It's been a very great discussion, gentlemen. I mean, we talked about, but of course, in a serious note, there are so many lives that's been lost. Not only life, a lot of been going through hell period. We just have to talk about it. Hell in every country. None of the people have been spared. Everybody going through either mental or physical or emotional sorrows. I mean, I hear lots of stories that some parents or siblings, they can't travel even for a year, and then the second year where they have to do this anniversary prayers, they even can't go. So this is the most terrible time in our human life, I believe so. But we will have to evolve. We have to stay strong. We have to be full of determination. I mean, we are coming the right path. We just have to get it going. Don't let this virus come in any angle or get him stronger. We have to press him. Got to eliminate that off. I mean, that's all I got to say. And thank you so much, Professor Rajesh, for once again joining at Kopi With Vans, and as well Dr. Arvinda as a guest speaker in Kopi With Vans for most of the health talk. Thank you so much, guys. We will stay connected, and let's eliminate the COVID-19 and D1167.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, the next time we talk about something else other than COVID. Yeah.
Of course. Next topic we'll talk about something else. Yeah. Maybe how about having coffee together?
Right. I hope it's eradicated.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah. Thank you
so much. Thank you, Dr. Arvinda. We will see you again on our next show. Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right, so we have come to the end of the talk session, which is almost about 1 hour, 4 minutes. I mean, thank you for the gentleman who just having a busy schedule, especially Dr. Arvinda was rushing through from his clinic, having emergency procedures and joining us. And of course, PK Rajesh, Professor, also having a long day in lectures as well, and still making time to join us at Kopi With Vans. I think that is my privilege. And of course, you all enjoy the talk session, I believe so. More sessions are coming up with different topics. Like I always say in my chat groups or even my talk sessions, that we are always trying to create awareness and to understand better in terms of every topics that we are talking. So our Wednesday talk sessions is basically specially dedicated for health topics. So experts, specialists, and many more others will be coming in and talk, because we have already lined up for the next 1 hour month of talk session. And every Tuesday at 9 o'clock will be a lifestyle channel. And very interesting. We will be having a chef coming on board next Tuesday at 9 p.m. I will not reveal the details. You're going to watch him. Who is he? He's going to come in and we're going to do food tasting. But don't worry, it's nothing on all the virtual. We have exciting things coming up. So stay tuned for more information that's going to come up in Kopi with Vans. This is Vans. I'm signing off. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. For right now, is adios, amigo. I got to press in the button and I get you all very soon. Ciao.